know you did a bodybuilding contest not too long ago. Was it what 6, 8 months ago now?
Yeah, it was pretty much exactly a year ago is
So
when I stepped on stage.
that's awesome. So want to pick your brain a little bit about the first, I guess, the nutrition side of things, and we can kind of go towards the mindset side. But for the nutrition, because I know you were posting a lot of your stuff on Instagram. You're like, hey, I'm counting out this grain of rice, and
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
see your story, and I'd be like, this guy is doing the most. But it's really what you have
yeah.
to do, isn't it, if you want to compete kind of at that level or in that sort of realm, isn't it?
Yeah, so most professional bodybuilders, whether they're on roids or natural like I was, uh, like I am, but
Nah, he
yeah,
switched in the last week, everybody.
yeah, you can see that like a tablespoon more of olive oil or like a couple more pieces of pineapple in your diet will affect greatly affect the amount of calories that you consumed in a day, which really affects your weight loss.
Mhm.
So I'd say if you are looking to step on stage and compete, it is very vital to weigh your food and calorie count down to the individual macro of each calorie. But if you just want to look good at the pool, I don't really think it's necessary.
So run us through kind of the product. I remember we were talking, and you kind of said, well, at one point I needed to bulk up, so I was eating like a
Yeah.
gazillion calories a day. So how did you kind of decide what weight you wanted to compete at, and then put together that plan? Say, hey, this is how I'm going to get to this weight within this
Yeah.
amount of time.
Yeah. So there's three body types. And so there's the ectomorph, which is like kind of skinny. You eat a lot, but you have a really hard time putting weight.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like the mesomorph, which is your typical athlete, someone who is going to have a hard time losing weight, but have a hard time gaining weight as well. Whereas the ectomorph is like, I, it's impossible for me to gain weight. And then there's the endomorph, which is the people that are just no matter what they do, they're generally going to be a little bit heavier. Not going to say it's impossible to lose weight across all of them because
Mm-hmm.
nothing's impossible. But I'm very much so in the ectomorph side where I have a
Mm-hmm.
really hard time gaining weight. And so when I decided to compete, I was inspired by a lot of my friends that I work out with back here in North Carolina. And
Mm-hmm.
so I asked my friend Oliver, it's like one of my best friends, to coach me. And he won the same show that I competed in as a senior in high school
Mm-hmm.
and was super knowledgeable about all of it, but I never coached anyone before. But for me, I didn't really care. I just wanted to try something new.
Right.
And I knew he knew how to handle like my body type and he understood what my body was going to go through because he's very much kind of been like the skinny, lanky guy until he started working out.
Mm-hmm.
And I let him call the shots. So I think when I first started, we were a year out from the show. I was 170 pounds. And if I was to have just started cutting right there, I didn't really have the size and the muscle mass, natural muscle mass that I needed. So we did like a 4 month bulking process where we gradually increased my calories and didn't do any cardio and just tried to make me big. And what we found out was that my body doesn't gain weight. And I think, like I told you last time over the phone, towards the end of the bulk, I was eating like 4 for 4s from Wendy's and like 2 for 99 cents hot dogs from Sheets as like snacks just to put on weight. It was like 5,500 calories a day. It was really uncomfortable to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm sure you felt
but
like
then
crap.
yeah, felt like crap. I was like kind of fat by my standards. I was kind of fat. But then after that, I think in around my birthday, May 12th, we really started to kick things up. And I experienced the grind that bodybuilders on YouTube and stuff go through, where you're weighing food out. Um, Cardio goes up, calories go down. You wake up every morning hungry, you go to bed every night hungry. And so I'd send him daily check ins where I'd hit my poses shirtless and he'd look at me and adjust my macros accordingly. Um, I'd weigh myself every morning at the same time with no water, no food in me, just to see like how my weight was fluctuating.
Hmm.
and he'd tell me exactly how many grams of protein, carbs, and fat that I was allowed to eat that day.
So walk us through kind of the grind. Once you start into getting into the cutting, sort of what's your routine for what are you eating? What's your workouts like?
Yeah,
Um, how much sleep are you getting? How much water are you drinking? Like all that sort of stuff.
yeah. So I'm sleeping just normal amount, 8 to 10 hours a day. But when you get towards like the last couple of weeks, it's harder to sleep because your body is literally starving
Hmm.
and it's trying to keep you awake so that maybe you'll go get some food. But for the most part, through the whole show, you're drinking gallon to a gallon and a half of water a day. So I'd be that guy that carries around a gallon jug with me. Um, and for my workouts, I think the really good thing is that I've been working out for a couple years,
Hmm.
so nothing really needed to change um, because my body was getting weaker naturally because I have less food. I wasn't doing 1 rep maxes anymore. Instead, I was doing stuff normally in like the 10 to 12 rep range
Right.
and really focusing on the mind muscle connection and getting a good contraction and
Mm-hmm.
just being slow and deliberate with my movements rather than just seeing how much weight I could
Yeah, that
move.
makes
and
sense.
then and then the cardio would go up, and I think at my peak I was doing an hour on the stairmaster a day. So I'd have to split it up to 2 a days. I'd go lift in the morning at 5 a.m. before going to work, and then after work I'd come in at like 9 or 10 ish and hit my hour on the stairmaster.
Jeez. I remember seeing some of your stories, your Instagram stories. When I didn't want to
Yeah,
work out in the morning, and see, I'd go on Instagram and be like, ah, Daniel posted another story. I guess I gotta go to the gym.
yeah, nothing a face full of pre-workout can't solve in the morning.
Definitely not.